Hello everyone. Today is Thursday. It is February the 21st, and this is the MetaStock Map. Here we are using the MetaStock platform. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ES. You'll see a little bit about what we are looking at currently. I've got a custom chart time frame here. It's a custom 3 days actually. And what I've done for that reason is to sort of get the noise to settle out a bit and see exactly where we are. And so that's the reason that I put that in. We can see we have another line of resistance that really looks like we've got a shot into 28.22 potentially, but we are stalled out right here. Still very bullish. It's telling us that pullbacks are buy zones. Remember, for a breakdown area to actually hold, we must breach resistance and then fail it in this kind of pattern. So far, that is not the case. Now, if we take this and we move it into the daily chart, we're going to see a lot more noise. And we're going to see that we had a sell zone that quickly turned into support. And here's the thing, folks, if you get a sell zone and you are sitting in an upward moving average and you are right in the middle of that moving average, that is a zone that says I'm going to come directly into support and I'm going to bounce. And that is really what we had done in the chart. So far, we have not had another move into a bullish pattern. And so what that's telling us is essentially, hey, if I can't get up and stay up over my resistance zones, I am going to start breaking down. So what are the numbers to look at? 27.96 was what we had in the overnight. And so we are looking for that to break down underneath this line right here at 2773, 2772, 2762, excuse me. And once we break down from that space, any bounce up that fails to hold is going to turn us into a negative formation. And that is going to take us a little bit lower. So the question might be, well, goodness, there are a lot of people calling shorts. Why is it that they are not showing up? Why do people keep punching forward when it seems like so many folks are talking about shorting mechanics? And I'm going to say this to you, when everybody gets better at seeing where support and resistance lie, it's very easy for somebody to try and pick the top. And when that breaks out, they will have to buy to cover. So there is buying motion that pushes us higher, but they're really not indications of people really digging into the market. And so right now, deep pullbacks are buy zones really all the way down into 27.35. Overnight, we seem to be holding this 27.74. We could have one more push up, and then we'll be looking at formations to resist. Right now, still holding an edge, and we're going to see that in literally every chart that we look at. I've moved the 3 days into the formation because it does give us a little bit less noise. A lot of times when the markets are very choppy, we think that our price action needs to be tighter, when indeed it's actually the reverse. We need to expand backwards and look at the big picture to see what is happening. And you can see that we are moving from resistance to support and now holding just above that resistance zone. I think I will move this line up just a bit higher into this region, and we can see that 71.70. Above that, remember, we just go back to our old resistance arrows, diamonds, to see what we are looking at. And so right now we have old resistance trying to hang on as support. That's where we're going to look at for the next few days. See how well we hold at this 70.34 area. And if we don't hold there, this chart is not going to break down. It's still very, very bullish. So what's going to happen is a pullback into a deeper support zone that also gives us another buying pattern, just like we saw last week. Let's take a look at the YM. Where is it? Here we go. Here's our 3-day, just grinding forward. This motion is so grinding. If we look for our highs, we're going to see that we're really hitting some right now, but we've got this area that also has quite a bit of resistance against it. So what are we doing? We're bouncing up against 26,000. We cannot get up and over the level. We see volume dipping down a little bit. You're not going to hear me talk a lot about volume. Volume, I think, is an also-ran indicator. And so I know a lot of people think that that's heresy, but I just look for what works all the time, and volume doesn't work all the time. And so it makes me look at it and go, well, there you have that, but I can't hold it there. So now what are we looking at here for the YM pullbacks? Going to give us buy zones. Notice old support areas. We're going to move this one up into this region and anticipate that our pullbacks, once again, going to give us buying pressure. We're stalled here. We should bounce. And if we bounce up into these prior zones, we should fade. There's enough flattening action for us to lose the edges of upside momentum. And there is a lot of price action that is moving algorithmically and really solely based on momentum and not on anything else. That's really driving charts much higher than we thought they could go. And so we have to roll with that until it changes in the space. Here is the daily chart for oil. Now notice, same type of pattern here, right? When you are in an upward formation and you get a sell zone, it tells you, even though you're under that moving average, it says look to the left, and that's going to be your target. If this arrow completes at the target, getting short is not a good plan. And so what you would look for is, how is my support holding? Can I turn from bearish to bullish? And can I allow myself to see this low area be my stop? This would have given us, this is a tight stop action, so it did stop us out. But if you were looking at the form to say, wait, I held all of this support, I'm going to go back up here to my old resistance area, you would have been very nicely positioned in the trade. It is still holding up and over these edges. Look at the next line in the sand. Remember, nothing can give us the right answer all the time, but how you interpret the signals going to give you a lot better performance than if you just sort of stared at it and just followed what you thought was being said there. There's a lot more going on here. This buy zone I really, really, really like, very much so. And so this actually is the stop for the sell, and this is the buy just before it. It's a re-entry long into the formation, and that is a stop for this red, or you're going to see a green stop for the green buy zones. All right, so this works tremendously well if you're paying attention to what it is you're supposed to be doing, and that just takes a little bit of time. Now we're going to take a look at gold. Gold has had a tremendous run. It stopped really from a resistance perspective. It stopped right up here. If we go backwards and we look at, well, where is support / resistance, we can see there's a lot of resistance at 1337. We breached that area and we came into, let's take a look at these zones here if you follow my crosshairs. These areas, coming up, stretching forward, but not able to hold. What is this chart telling us? It's telling us, listen, my pullbacks are going to be buy zones. Where's my last resistance area? It's here. Where's my last breakout of support? It's here. And so this region is going to move up off of this edge. And so now we're going to look to see if this chart can hold 1328. Watch it bounce to the upside. If it cannot breach this line, 1337, we'll have a stair step down into the next line of relative support. Oops. Last thing, we're going to take a look at the RTY. This is a very interesting one, right? This is the Russell, and it is giving us solid resistance. This is a big one, right? I think this is a great area to have short that is very tightly managed. So big spikes up into 1590, 1594, and so on, going to give us a great entry point with a stop that's just, 20 ticks wide or so. A failure here is going to give us a first pass bounce because it's very bullish. So you can't short the low here. That would be terrible. But if you watch the pullback and it fails to recapture these edges, a lot of these charts are showing that the pullbacks could end up being a little deeper. A lot more folks coming out saying, hey, listen, this market could run for a long while. That could be very true. Here's what we know. The pullbacks, that's where we're going to buy. When it gets to these arrows and we've got diamond patterns that say, hey, listen, I'm at resistance, it is not a place to buy a breakout, just not. You've got to wait for pullback action to give you a pretty shot at getting yourself involved in a trade with limited risk. All right, that's it for the MetaStock Map.